Okay, for this video, I'm going to go through the steps of setting up the ProPresenter each week. So this is going to start from the preset ProPresenter that's already been made, presumably from the previous week, and going from there. So the ProPresenter app on the Mac Mini is this orange icon that has a little screen on it. So we'll click on that. Now, I do want to say that there are a lot of more detailed videos of exactly how to build this stuff and all of that from ProPresenter, and I'll make sure that that information is available to whoever is going to be taking over so that you can see exactly what to do if you want to start from scratch or something like that. So this is just going from kind of our blank slate, what we do every week. So just kind of a quick and easy method of showing how I build the ProPresenter each week, presuming that all the songs and everything are made and easy to drop in. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is drop in our graphics for the week. So I usually start this welcome screen. These 8 slides will loop. You can kind of barely see this little arrow right there. Means that this is going to re-loop. So each little section here is its own presentation. And as you go through these every 30 seconds, which is what that 30 is saying, it's going to go to the next slide, and then it's going to loop back from the top. You don't have to change anything there. So you can create announcements and you can drop them in here with no problem. All you have to do is add the timer to it, and I'll show you how to do that. And it's super easy. This loop is already ready to go. You don't ever have to touch it. It's even already, you can see all this stuff happening. All these little icons mean that something's happening whenever we click on this slide. I'll kind of show you what all that does in just a second, but first let me drop in our new graphics. So to open our media bin, we're going to hit this media button right here. And I like to make it a little bigger so that I can see. So I drop almost everything into the default bin. It does make it a little messy, but it just kind of works for me. So I'm going to go to Finder, and I've already made the graphics for this week. I'm not going to do a video on how to make graphics because you just do what you want. I mean, use Canva, use Adobe Express, Photoshop, whatever you want to do to make the graphics. So this is the graphic that I've made for this week. The one that says YT is for YouTube, and that's the one that has the live stream box here and says Park Hill Christian Church. And then the other one is just the graphic, and this is what will display while the preacher, presumably Mike, is preaching. So I'm going to drag both of those into the media because we're going to use both of them. So, and I just drag it here at the top. So the newest one is always first. And then I need to replace, this is last week's graphic, so I'm going to replace it with this week. So it's just as simple as grabbing it and dropping it in. That's literally all you have to do. Everything else that's tied to that slide stays the same. So whenever I click on it, it's going to start the timer for the week. And when we look over here, we'll be able to see for projector, that's going to show us what's going on the screen. And then OBS is actually what's going to the live stream. So I need to relabel that because we don't use OBS anymore, but this is what is displayed on the live stream. So in the case of this, they're going to be the same because on the live stream before we start, you're actually seeing these scrolling announcements on the live stream. So when I click on this, it starts several things. So one thing you'll notice, you can hear it in the background because I've got it set to play. I'll turn it down there. It'll start the music. So one thing it's set to do is start shuffling through this pre and post show mix. And I'm actually going to hit shuffle on that, so it will shuffle through it. Okay, so this playlist will then begin to shuffle during this whole thing. And that's not set to turn off until we get to the first song. The first song will tell it to turn off the music. So it plays through this countdown timer and everything. Okay, so that starts. It also starts this clock where you can see it says the service will begin in, and then it has a clock. So that clock is over here. It's the pre-post show countdown. So it's set to start a countdown to 9 a.m. So if you need to change it for whatever reason, that's where you'll change it. If it's an 11 o'clock or a 10 o'clock service, you can change it there. It's a little more complicated than that, but I'm not going to go into all that right now. So, and as you've been able to see, it's every 30 seconds, it's clicking through to the next slide. So if I wanted to add a different slide, so for example, if there was, if I needed to add in a Disciples Men meeting coming up, which there's not one, but I could just drop it in wherever I wanted to put that slide. and it drops in the slide, and then all I have to do is right click it and hit go to next timer. And that tells it after how long does it need to go to the next timer. So I'm going to hit 30, done, and that matches all these other ones. So it's 30 seconds, it'll go to the next timer. So if I, or go to the next slide. So if I hit, click on that one, it will go through for 30 seconds and then go to the next one. And the only difference is on this last one, which is our pray slide, I have clicked on this one. It's set for 30 seconds, and I clicked loop to beginning. So whatever I want my last slide to be, that's where I click loop to beginning, and it goes back to the beginning there. So if you just leave it as this prayer slide through the whole thing, then you don't have to worry about it. So, but if you guys decide you want to change up some of these graphics and stuff, obviously do what you want. So I am going to take that out because that's an outdated slide, and I don't want to accidentally leave it in there. So we'll just drop that out. So the next place that I need to put a graphic, and I'll go ahead and skip ahead to that, is in the sermon presentation. So over here on the left side, this is kind of our playlist for this stream. So we hit Crossroads, and it's all of these, and they're pre-built, and everything is in order. So that's what it's showing us right here. All of these are individual presentations that make up the service, and they just smoothly go one right into the next. So whenever it is time, when we get to 2 minutes before the service starts, whoever's running the ProPresenter will click on this one, and it goes to our 2-minute countdown. So nothing scrolls past that. The music still plays, but it does let us know, okay, we're 2 minutes out. It's time to settle down. Get your coffee, get your donuts, and have a seat. And then whenever it's time to go on, we will click on the first slide of the song, which I have not input the song for this week, so I can't show you that. So they just kind of go one right after the other. Okay, so our sermon slide always looks something like this. It has graphics on either end, a front and back graphic, and then scripture in the middle. Now this week's a little weird because there's like 6 scriptures, so I'm going to do them a little bit differently, but for the most part, it will always look like this. So you have the 2 graphics, which are the same on either end, so that you can click through the scripture, and then once you get to the graphic, you're back to that for the rest of the sermon. So I'm going to take this one that's labeled as graphic and just drag it there and there. And very subtle differences there. All I did was make the words a little bit bigger, and then I took out the live stream and the church information because obviously we don't need that. We know that. Okay. So if I click on that, it should clear out. No, that one's not set to clear out our music. So okay, if I ever just want to turn off the music, if it's just going and we need to turn it off, by the way, you can just come over here to the music, the clear audio button, and just click on that, and it'll turn off the music, and it fades out so it's not too abrupt. You can also have whoever's running sound can fade it out that way if they want to. Now, while I'm in the sermon thing, I'm going to show you something else that I need to do every week. So notice in the OBS menu, you can barely see it because it's very small, but I've got these little lower thirds here. So for each section of the service, I've got what's happening here. So the children's moment, the morning prayer, and it changes for all of them. And then for the sermon, I've usually got the sermon title and whoever is preaching. So that sermon one does need to be changed every week. So let me show you how to do that. This is called a prop. And again, there's a whole big thing on how to set that up, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm not going to cover it. So just if you need to change the prop, this is how you do it. So we're going to go to More, the Props Editor, and then this is all of our props, and they all have different titles. So some of these are from a Christmas presentation, stuff like that, which I just left in there because you never know when you might use them again. But not all of these are used during the Cross Roads service. But I'm going to go down to the one that's labeled Sermon. Click on that, and this was Mike's title from July 9th. So I need to change that to his title for July 17th, which is this coming Sunday. So I'm going to change it to Done Wrong. Now it does type it in all caps, but I usually go ahead and capitalize it also because sometimes things get weird and you never know when it's going to show up wrong. So do your normal case typing, even if it shows up in all caps here. Okay, so once I've done that, that will save. You don't have to hit save or anything like that. ProPresenter automatically saves. You never have to push a save button. So as soon as you make an edit, it's saved. So then I'm going to go to Show, and that takes me back to this main screen. Okay, so now if I click on this, notice it changes to Done Wrong by Reverend Mike Snell. And I know that's tiny, you probably can't read it, but trust me, that's what it says. Okay. The next thing that you need to know is how to drop in songs. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this. I'm going to get rid of this media bin just because it's in my way for now. So when you click on that, it goes away. And usually during the service, I have that gone too, so that you can just see everything that you're working on. So we've got 4 songs for this week. And I'm going to go over here and log into Worship Tools. And go to Planning. Okay, so through the magic of video editing, we are logged in already to Worship Tools, and there's another video on how to do that. So I'm going to go to Services and July 16th, and this is what's going to show me where what songs I need to put in. So we've got Blessed Be Your Name, Graves into Gardens, Mighty to Save, and Breakthrough. I'm pretty sure we already have those made, which makes life really easy. I'll do another video later on for how to create a song. So all of the music is in this default playlist. Okay, and you can, of course, organize that however you want. If you want to change that to music or whatever to make it work, whatever you want to do is fine. But for now, it's all just labeled under default. So the first song that we need is Blessed Be Your Name. So I'm going to click on it. And this has my Blessed Be Your Name graphics and everything are there. So I'm actually going to drag this into the Crossroads playlist. Now, it just adds it to the bottom, but we'll move it in a minute. Let me just go get the other songs first. So we needed Graves into Gardens. And then Mighty to Save. And then Breakthrough. So this one's a pretty easy week. If there's not any new songs, it makes it a lot easier. And I've gotten most of the songs that are in our rotation are built in here. But if you do come across one that's not, I'll have a separate video to show you how to do that. So Blessed Be Your Name is going to go right after the welcome and countdown. So the first song happens after the welcome and countdown, before the announcements. The second song happens after the announcements, and that's going to be Graves into Gardens this week. And then before the sermon, after the prayer, we'll have Mighty to Save. And then after communion, we will have Breakthrough. So now when I go back to here, our songs are in there. Okay, so the lyrics, the titles, everything is in there, is ready to go. One thing you do need to fix is we need to change that. The arrangement basically shows you in what order all of these things are happening. So the master is just everything straight through. Intro, verse 1, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 3, verse 4, bridge. But that's not the order that we actually play the song in. So what I've done is created a default arrangement that is actually how we play the song. Now for this song, because it's the first song, I am going to need to shorten it. So I will create a short arrangement in a minute, and I'll show you how to do that once I kind of figure out what I want us to do. We'll probably just delete 3, 4 in that pre-chorus and chorus and go straight to the bridge. I think that's what I'm going to want to do. Yeah, that'll probably be it, but I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so now I can just get rid of that. So now we're in, it says right here, default. That lets us know that we are in the right order for the way that we actually play the song. Okay, and I'll scroll down, and I'm going to double check Graves into Gardens. Again, we're going to go to our default arrangement. So it took these parts of the songs and it placed them in the order that we actually do them. Okay, so intro, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus twice, bridge twice, chorus 3 times, and then the outro. Okay, so that's the order that we actually play the song in. And then we'll go down to Mighty to Save. And this question mark just means there's a graphic missing, that it doesn't know what. So when we drag in our background there, it'll replace that. So Mighty to Save looks like it was already on default. And I may change this theme, and that'll give me a good chance to show you how to do that, because I'm not crazy about that theme. It's an older one. And then Breakthrough is also on default, so we are good to go there. So as long as it says default right there, you're fine. If it doesn't, you just click on this little button here and then select default, and you're good to go. All right, so all of the music is in there. So now I need to select backgrounds. And I like to have backgrounds kind of themed for the week. So I usually just pick one background from the set to use for all of the stuff that happens during the service, that is not music but needs a background for. I try to do just one background for all of that. And then I make the songs different backgrounds from the same set, from the same kind of theme that we're going for there. And it doesn't have to tie into the theme for the week or anything like that. I just pick what looks good. There are some that are more geared towards Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So what I did was reopened the media bin here just by clicking on media. And then CMG motion graphics. These are all of the graphics that we have gotten from Church Motion Graphics, which is the website that I use for most of these. And I've got a bunch of them in here, and they are kind of sorted by theme. Now, unfortunately, my import didn't work very well, so I do have some that are missing. So, it might be beneficial just to pull all those out and re-import them. In fact, I may do that so that we've got all of our themes in there and then just kind of come back and finish the video from there, because I didn't realize how much of these are missing. Okay, I'm going to do that real quick and then cut back in. Okay, so we're back. Now, things may look a little bit different than they did whenever I just left the video a few seconds ago for you, because everything went haywire and it kind of reverted back to an old version that I had to then kind of rebuild, but to get us back to where we were. So hopefully that never happens to you. I think I've got that issue settled down, but now we are at a point where we can start dragging in graphics, motion graphics. So these are just the backgrounds that move. It's probably the least important thing that we do every week, but I like it. I like it to look pretty, and I think everybody has appreciated that ProPresenter uses the motion graphics and it makes everything look a little bit nicer. So, okay, so to do this, we just go to our library here. We've got CMG Motion Graphics as one of the libraries. We also have, there's one that says Motion BGs. That's motion backgrounds. These are ones that I found that were free and just downloaded. So you can use some of these if you want. My favorites tend to be the Church Motion Graphics ones. And then I've got some that are just specifically for Christmas, of course, which are pretty nice. And some of them you will notice are from Church Motion Graphics. And then some specific Church Motion Graphics Christmas CMG stuff is up here. All right, so, but I'm just going to use CMG Motion Graphics. I've been kind of trying to pick what I want to use this week. I think what I had it on is probably where I'm going to go this week. It doesn't really matter. It's just kind of what you're feeling. If there's something that matches the theme, obviously use that, but there usually isn't. So, okay, so the first thing I do is decide which motion graphic is going to be the kind of generic slides. So I think for this week, I'll pick this one, and we can preview it. If we click on it there, we can kind of see what it looks like up there. And again, just drag and drop, and it puts everything where it, theoretically, it does that sometimes. If you make sure you click on it really good before you drag it, and it won't do that. So it just drops it into the background of these. So the actual slide itself has this image on it, which is a graphic I made in Adobe Express, but it has a transparent background, so I can just drop these motion backgrounds behind it. Same with this one. I just use the same one for all of these different parts of the service. I'm just ignoring the songs right now, just dragging that one. You might have heard the fire truck go by. That's one of the fun things about Park Hill Christian Church. And apparently we used this set the last time we did Graves into Gardens, so that's kind of nice. I'll just leave that there for Graves into Gardens. Okay, still using number 401 here. Did it again. Make sure I have a better click on it. I haven't figured out why it's doing that to me. The only thing I can think is just making sure that I click on it once before I drag it. Now with this one, technically I could just have the motion on the first one like I do with the lyrics, and it'll go ahead and play through, but it doesn't hurt to have it on all of them just to be safe. Benediction's already using that one. It's nice. That must have been the same one I used last time. Look at that. Okay, so we are good to go with those. So now I will pick backgrounds for the songs. Like I said, Graves into Gardens is already done. I don't have to worry about that one because it matches. So this is what I was talking about, by the way, with what's showing up on the screen versus what's showing up in the live stream. So in the live stream, everything that's black is what the camera is seeing. So the video camera view of the stage would be there, and then the lyrics will be on top of it. And you'll notice that if I click on the title, it looks a little different. It's got the title and the songwriters, and then we go through the lyrics, and it looks the same there. And it's already built to do that. So if you ever get to a point where you need to fix that, I can show you how to do that. The videos that are from ProPresenter will show you how to do that, but I'm not going to do that in the scope of this video. So if you click on the outro, which is always the copyright information, it does pull the copyright information up full screen. That's just for licensing purposes and stuff. I don't think we really have to do that, but I usually do. Okay, Blessed Be Your Name. It's already got this kind of pink and purple theme, so I'm just going to grab this one because it matches and drop it on there. You don't have to do that. It's just kind of what I tend to do at the time that I built this other one. The pinkish purple theme was fitting for that song, so that's what I did. And you'll see as we click through this, now I do have this capital M here as a macro. And what a macro is, it basically is a set of commands. So I have one for song titles that's already pre-built. So if you ever have to make a song, you just drag that onto the song title, and it tells ProPresenter several things. It wants it to be full screen with the title and everything there. It has a specific theme and all that stuff that it's going for, and it also sets the right theme for the title on the live stream. And then here, this is where the song lyrics start, and that sets a particular theme for the lyrics to look a certain way, and it also changes the background and stuff like that. So, but now that I'm here, if you notice over here where it says projector, even though I'm clicking through and the lyrics are changing, that background is staying the same. So it is kind of nice that it does that. So wherever that background is set to start, that's where it's going to start, and it's not going to move until I tell it to go to something else. Now, one nice thing about this is if you're looking at it and you're going, I don't really like that, you can actually just click on another one and it'll switch to that one in the middle of the song. It doesn't really matter. But if you click on the first slide, it goes back to that one. So once we get over here, this one has it set to go to this background. So there it goes. All right. And that also tells it it's got things set to pull up the prop with the right information there. Okay, so like I said, Graves into Gardens is done. I'm not going to worry about that one. I think it looks great. I love that kind of bluish gray. It's beautiful. Come down here. Now, might I save? I mentioned that I'm not crazy about... I've updated some of my themes, so I think I'm going to change the theme on this one. That'll give me a chance to show you how to do that. So I closed the media bin just so I can see more of the lyrics here. So what I'm going to do is grab all of the lyrics slides. So I clicked on the first one, and then I'm going to hold Shift and click on the last one. So I've got all of the lyric slides selected here. And I'm going to right-click and go to Themes, and then I can change it to whatever theme I want. And you can see that I've got a few different themes. I think right now it's on this lighthouse theme, which I like. I've got a few different colors of that, but I did update these with these PHCC block lyric ones. So you can choose different word or different colors to have these, and it's really easy to change the colors. Sometimes I change them to specifically match whatever I want. I think I'm going to do purple for Mighty to Save. And if you notice, it made it much bigger. It made the lyrics show up a little bit bigger. Everything still fits. We didn't get any weird line breaks or anything from it. And I just think it looks a lot better for that one. I do like that background with this one, and I'm okay with the fact that it's a little bit different than the rest of the theme. But what I have been doing differently, originally I had a special slide for the title of the song, and then it would go into the motion background. But lately I've just been using the same slide for the motion background. So I think I'm gonna, I'll go in and fix that. And I did notice this is kind of the old style of copyright that I used to do. I have a better copyright theme for that one, labeled PHCC Copyright. And now when we click on it, it shows the new version. A little easier to read. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to media, and I'm going to find that background to drop into that title slide. So I think it's in Motion BGs, maybe in the CMG ones. And we've got these beautiful water themes. I like those for kind of slower songs. They do look really nice. Oh, there they are. So it looks like it's this one, Title Remix 01, which is that one. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag that up to there. Now, you may notice that it took away that bar that kind of darkened behind the lyrics there. So what I'm going to do is right-click, hit Themes, and I'm going to go to PHCC Title. And then I've got Song Title with Bar, and it adds that darkened background, so it makes it a little easier, makes the words pop a little bit better. Okay, so that's just playing around with the themes, changing things up a little bit. I like that one to have a different theme is fine. Okay, and then we'll go down to Breakthrough, and let's just scroll back up to our other set that we were using, and I don't think I've used this one yet. So you'll notice for most of them, I've got the same theme there. You can explore the different themes. You can also, if you Google ProPresenter lyric themes, you can find different ones. These that say CMG, those are from Church Motion Graphics. They were free packs, and there's tons of them. There's all kinds of different ones. For teaching, which our scripture slides are actually themed off of that. There's little lists and things like that you can do. Some really cool stuff that you can do for it. So play around with it, find stuff you like. I have been occasionally using this title slide for some of my titles because I like it. I think it's cool looking. So just, play around with what you like. If you don't like these boxes around them, change it up and have fun with the themes. There's nothing that you can break and not be able to fix in ProPresenter. That's kind of one of the nice things. Even this afternoon when I lost everything, I kind of had to go back. Okay, so I just noticed there's a weird line break on in this song, so I'm going to show you how to fix that. So here in verse 3, the lyric is, "You alone can take my scars, piece by piece restore my heart." I don't like where it broke the line there, so I'm going to fix that. And there's actually two ways to do it. The first way is to use this option called Reflow. So all Reflow does is it shows you the slide lyrics, and you can actually change like what words are on what slides, and you can also insert an enter to make it go down to the next one. So "You alone can take my scars," and then I can go ahead and drop that down. So "and piece by piece restore my heart." I can also see if that'll fit on one line, which is fine as well. I may leave it like that. Okay, so that's one way to do it. I'm going to actually undo that. Oop, a bunch of stuff just fell off my desk. I'm going to undo that real quick and show you another way to do that. So if I go back to show, this is what you wanted on. The show button is where you want it for live streaming. There's actually two other ways to do it. One of them is a quick edit. Quick edit is really nice if you notice that there's a word misspelled in the middle of the service. I've done that a couple of times. And it's on something that, is on the text, not on the graphic. I can hit quick edit and it pulls this up, and you can actually click on it and edit it from here. And you can see what it's going to look like in kind of a mini view. And while you're doing this, nothing is happening on the screen. So you notice that it's still the same up there. And then when I hit X and re-click on it, it shows the fixed version. Anytime you're editing, whatever was the last clicked thing is what is actually being displayed on the projector. That's one of the beautiful things about ProPresenter is you can go in and add a completely different song or change something out, and it works. If the band decides to go in a big improv thing, you can just click on a blank slide and figure out what they're doing, and then add whatever you need to there if they decide to improvise and go into a different song or something like that. It's really nice. Okay, the other way that we could do that instead of doing the quick edit is to actually go up to the edit button, and this actually shows us our entire presentation. So Breakthrough is its own presentation, and you can see that I've got them grouped here. You can't actually change the grouping in the edit mode, but you can change the themes in here. So what I could have done is, it was verse 3, I think, that was messed up. maybe it was verse 2. Yeah, verse 3. So I could go there and I could have edited it. That's fun to say, edited it. I could have edited it here in this mode just like you would in ProPresenter or something like that. But again, you have to hit show, and that takes you back to where you were. Okay. So once all of that is done, the last thing I usually do is if we have announcements for the week that have specific things. Oh, I need to do the scriptures. That is something that I forgot about. But once if I have announcements that I need a separate slide for, I'll make those. Sometimes I take what Robin has made in Canva and stretch it out to a 1920 by 1080 and just make it, move it around a little bit to make it look good. Sometimes I use kind of default stuff. For Disciples Men, I've got this default slide that we saw earlier, which I think now that I've moved things around is probably not going to be there again. There it is. Yeah. So we've got this slide. So if I wanted to change something for Disciples Men, first thing I need to do is clear out. Yeah, there we go. My song started. So I can then edit this slide. Oh no, this is a graphic in Canva, so that one I can't fix. So you could go into Canva and fix it. Let me see if I can find one that, I guess these are all just graphics. Okay, I'll just cut that out of the video because you don't need to know that. So what I usually do if I need to add in a announcement, like I showed you earlier, is I'll have a graphic that I've made in Canva and just import it in and drop it in there. It works. It's easier than trying to build them in ProPresenter just for announcements. Okay, let me show you how to do the scriptures real quick, because that does change from week to week. This week is a little bit weird because we have a bunch of scriptures, and they are all a little bit, some of them are short, some of them are a little bit longer. So the first thing I normally do is go ahead and get rid of everything after the first slide of scriptures, and we can go into edit mode here so that we're looking at the actual presentation and editing it there. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And what I'm going to do is go into email, and I'm going to pull up what Mike has sent us for the week, because he includes the scriptures in his email, which is pretty nice. So I forwarded this email from me over to the admin account. So we've got this traditional rundown, or I can just copy it straight from here. All right. So Command C to copy, and then Shift Option Command V, and that is a paste as. You could also go to Edit, Paste and Match Style. So that makes sure that it matches the font style and everything that's going on here, so we don't have to go back and change it. So you can just leave it as it is. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over to that screen, and I'm going to say we can probably get through about here in the first slide, because that next sentence is long and I don't want to break it up. So I'm going to hit Command C to copy that, and then come over here, select all, which is Command A, and then Shift Option Command V. And there are some interesting line breaks that happen, so we'll just get rid of those. I also, for the screen, I like to go ahead and get rid of the verse numbers. In the printed version, I know Mike likes to have the verse numbers there, but for the screen, I think it gets in the way. And I'm going to see if I can fit this next. Yeah, that next sentence is just so long. So what I'm going to do is copy 3 through 6. And I'm going to go up here, right click, and hit duplicate. And the reason I do that is because it's already got the scripture there. It saves me a step. And then just make sure I click on the new slide, the next one down. I make that mistake a lot. Yeah, this will all fit. So then I just go through and fix the line breaks. And then get rid of the numbers. And kind of double check it to make sure it looks pretty. If you want to have somebody proof it, I don't know if you're a good proofer or not. I am not, so I usually will send it to somebody else. You can actually export this as a images, and I'll send those to Allison a lot of times because she's really good at proofing. Stephen Sherrill's another great option for that. Robin does a good job, to just let him look over it and make sure that there wasn't anything weird that happened in copying or anything like that. So if it was just one scripture for the week, which it normally is, then we would be done. So we come over here, and that would start our sermon. And then when we get to our scripture, and you notice down here, it even shows the scripture in this different kind of text with the verse underneath it. And that's all pre-built in there. And once we're done with the scripture, we just go back to the main graphic. And that's it. One thing that I added this week, this will be the first time we do it, is for the time for reflection, I have added music to be built into this program, to be built into this slide. So when we get there, it'll start playing. So we do our tithes and offerings, and we may decide eventually to add music to that as well. We do communion, and then we have the time for reflection. And we get to the time for reflection, you'll notice that it starts playing music there. And this is what I've been using for the last couple of weeks. If we go to our music playlist, it's the reflection time music, and it's just called Incidental in Key of G. It's pretty much exactly 2 minutes long, so it works for a great kind of 2-minute reflection, and then it fades out. And but if whoever is doing the invitation, if we're running short on time or whatever, you can go straight to the invitation, and you'll notice that it fades the music out when you do that. So whoever is doing the invitation at the end, it'll automatically fade the music away. And if you want different music there, all you have to do is drag it into this reflection time music. So if I go to Finder, and let's say I've got something in my music folder that I want to use instead, we want to put Echo Holy in there for whatever reason as our reflection music. I could grab that and just drag it onto that playlist, the reflection time, and it adds it in there. Okay, and then you can, in your action here, you could change it to, whatever one you want to play. If you want to do that, whatever you want it to play first, just drag that up to the top. So it'll click on, whenever you click on that slide, it'll start playing the top track, because I don't think that one's set. No, that one is set to shuffle. So if you don't like that track, you can go to the next track or whatever. You can change the music out if you want something different in there. So whatever music you or Mike decides he wants in there, you have, you can play around with that. So I'm going to go delete that out because I don't want it in there. Okay. And again, anything that you ever need to just make sure the screen is not on the screen, you can click out of here. So the props are this kind of looks like a stack of things. So if the prop is wrong, sometimes I forget all the time to change the sermon title. So if you're sitting there and you notice the sermon title is wrong, just do that and it'll clear that prop out, and there just won't be a sermon title during that part of the live stream. Doesn't matter. Not a big deal. Or like I said, if you get to the last slide of a song, let me get up here and grab the background. If you get to the last slide of a song and, the band is still playing and you don't know what they're supposed to be doing, if you click this button, it makes the lyrics go away. So it just leaves up that background. Or if your background starts glitching, if the computer's freaking out and, you just want to have the lyrics without the background, you could just click that one and it'll clear out whatever the background is. So if you do something like I did a second ago where, you accidentally click down here and then click back on the lyrics where it's supposed to be, you'll notice that the background's wrong, and you can just get rid of the background there and it looks right. And then, get rid of the prop there. You will lose the lyrics on the live stream unless you go back and click that and then go back to that slide. But those are just kind of weird troubleshooting scenarios. Okay, again, you don't have to save in ProPresenter. Everything automatically saves. So I usually close the media bin is the last thing that I'll do, so that whenever I open it up on Sunday morning, everything's ready to go. And then all you have to do is quit out of ProPresenter, shut down the computer, take it down to the CFLC, and get it hooked up, and you're good to go. It's that simple. When you plug in the monitor that's down there, you plug in the adapter to go to the projector, the audience thing automatically knows where to go. When you plug in the USB for the audio to send to the mixer, that should all automatically come up. And you can always troubleshoot it if you need to. Jeremy's pretty good at that stuff. if you ever need to grab him and say, hey, audio is not working, you can always see if you can figure it out. All right. And of course, if you run into any trouble when you're building it, if something goes crazy or you lose something, give me a call and I might be able to help you fix it. I'm always just an email and a phone call away, and I can help. All right. Take care. Talk to you later on.